Could you tell the story? And I've heard you tell it a couple of times in a couple of different ways, but it's a very personal story. Tell them the story about the beginning of Lolo's Chicken and Waffles.
Okay, so we can go way back. Um, I started with like a little independent record company, and we used to do recordings, and we're in Phoenix, Arizona, so you can't get any big names in Phoenix, Arizona. So when we did collabs, we had to go to Los Angeles to mingle with the industry. And we ended up doing music with the Dog Pound, Daz and Corrupt, E40, Snoop's guys. I was in the studio with Tupac, but we didn't do any music with Tupac. But it was a really cool time. But during that time, late night sessions, after recording, everybody's hungry. And we always end up at a place called Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. And I just thought it was amazing, chicken and waffles together. But I come from a food and, restaurant background. My grandmother is Mrs. White from Mrs. White's Golden Rule Cafe. So cooking was already in my nature. So what I did, I came home, and when we had late night recording sessions in Arizona, everybody would come back to my house and I'll make up chicken and waffles for all the guys. It started with 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. All right, we need to start charging. All right, so that's how we really got started. But just like this young lady says, everybody has to hit a rock bottom before they actually start flying on towards success. And back then, when I was doing that record label, I was young, of course. I was in my early 20s. And, I was out there trying to get that fast money. So I was living a illegal lifestyle and made some bad decisions. And, like they always say, eventually it's going to catch up with you. And eventually it caught up with me, and I became a guest of Sheriff Joe R. Powell. And boy, you don't ever want to be a guest of his. All right, so it was pretty rough. But during that time, when I sat in my jail cell for 11 weeks, 77 days, trying to get my bail reduced, I was just like, there has to be a different way. There has to be a different way. And I always, I didn't go to college, so no bachelor's, no AA, none of that. But something I always had in me was drive. So I was driven to do my illegal businesses. I took that same drive from illegal and shifted into this right here. So of course when I got out of jail in 1997, I didn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. I asked my grandmother and father for the opportunity to showcase Lolo's Chicken and Waffles out of their establishment. And at this time in 1997, they were only open Monday through Friday, closed on weekends. And I know most people was like, closed on weekends? That's crazy. I mean, weekends are our busiest time. But back then, my father was a family guy. He believed in spending quality time with his children on the weekends. And Mrs. White's is in the heart of downtown Phoenix. So the business that came through Mrs. White's Monday through Friday, like banker's hours from 9 to 5 was amazing. So they had that luxury of being closed on weekends. So at this time, since they're closed, I'll showcase Lolo's. I'll reopen on Friday night at 9 p.m. and I will go all the way till 4 a.m. And I would do that Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday, I did the opposite. I will open at 9 a.m. and go to 4 p.m. All right. I had just got out of jail. I'm out on parole, whatever, on a bail hearing. Ended up getting probation, 7 years of probation. But during that time, I was working at Mrs. White's, trying to get back on the straight and narrow path. So I'm working for my grandmother 5 days a week, and then I'm doing Lolo's Chicken and Waffles 3 days a week. So if you add that up, I was really working 8 days a week. So I'm still working 8 days a week. But just like this young lady said, she said so much that reminds me of me. And in the beginning, I touched every single plate. I'm very, very particular. I'm a Sagittarius. I don't know if that matters to anybody, but I'm very anal, and I'm very neat in what I do, and attention to detail is huge with me. So I was touching every plate, doing everything, and then I got my first brick and mortar where we met at 10 West Yuma Street. It was about 800 square feet. We was only able to seat about 20 people at a time.
Anybody in here ever go to that location?
You remember that little house?
Oh,
Awesome.
yeah. And the walls were covered
In autographs.
with autographs.
Yeah, so it's something that my grandmother started at her place. When famous celebrities come in, they will sign the wall. So I just continued this, the tradition. And but just to rewind just a little bit, I did the weekends only at Mrs. White's for 5 years, from 97 to 2002. I got my little first brick and mortar in 2000. I thought it was going to be quick to just turn it into a restaurant. It literally took me 2 years. So had to get it rezoned from residential to commercial. Once again, I'm young, I'm not knowing the rules. They taught me how to work in the restaurant, but they never taught me how to run a restaurant. So I kind of learned all of this on my own. I stumbled, I burnt myself, I learned from that lesson, and I just kept moving onwards. I never sat around and waited for anybody to give me anything. I just created my own path and my own lane. And that's just what I've been doing, man. I've just been going nonstop ever since. It gets addicting.
How many guys have come to you offering all of the answers, and you've had to learn on your own how to be able to weed out the ones that are so full of it and the ones that can actually help you?
Tons. You'll be surprised. I mean, I take pride in what we do, and if I'm going to do it, once again, I'm going to do it well. I'm going to give it 120%. So when people come in, they love what we do, and they got all these great ideas, and they want to grow us. And I mean, back in 2009, somebody wanted to talk about doing 200 stores.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I just didn't feel that was the right person. And I don't think that, the capital is what's important in growing. You need to share my passion. And you have to have the same passion for our guests and for our food and for the quality and what we do here at Lolo's Chicken and Waffles. A lot of people just want to bring a bunch of money, grow it super fast. But if you like the passion, what do we really got? And that's why people love Lolo's, and that's why there's only so many of us, and it's a small amount. And we speak volume with quality and not numbers. It's definitely a treat to have a Lolo's in your area, and we hear that all the time. But we've turned down, a lot of professional athletes. We turned down a lot of famous people who wanted to jump on this bandwagon. But I think they looked at us as a cash register only. And that was a problem with me.
And I remember watching that. I can remember you introducing me to a number of people who were either wanting to help you or that had come on and sort of as a test.
Yeah.
And then I watched them come in and I watched them go out.
Yeah.
Been able to watch you go through people who came to you with all the answers.
Oh, yeah.
And your vision and your quality have not changed
Nope.
at all. So here's my question about leadership. If you go back from the moment you knew you had something, probably to the moment where you're making this food for these people in the industry,
Yep.
and they're saying, you need to sell this. This is really good. From that moment until today, what were the hardest lessons to learn? And how have you been able to adapt in order to become the leader that the company has needed?
The hardest lessons to learn, and I don't really think it's that hard when you're just so passionate about what you do. And it's just remain yourself, stay humble, and don't fall to temptation. Some people may say, I'm just going to throw out some names, but some people may say it's cool to be associated with Charles Barkley or Shaquille O'Neal. You'll think that's really cool. But, if they don't have your same vision for this brand, that's not the right person.
So they would want to take the name
Yep.
and take it around the country, and your concern is the customers will not have this experience, the quality, the experience?
It's hard. It's hard. It's hard trying to keep the quality of the stores that we have right now, because like she said, we're only good as our people. And right now, finding good people right now is hard. Raising Cane's was in the media not too long ago about bringing down all their CEOs and all their execs to work in the stores. You guys familiar with this story? That's something I've been doing my whole life. I've been hands-on, and then especially during COVID, we had to lay people go. We had to let people go. We had to lay people off. And why? So we can stay afloat. If we're not bringing in the revenue to pay all of these people or offer a severance package or whatever, we got to keep the business here, because I'm trying to build a legacy that's going to be here for many, many years to come. Now, of course, we brought people back, and a lot of them did come back. We didn't lose not one single manager. But the reason it was important to me, because I knew that my management shared my vision. I knew that they saw it the way I see it, and I couldn't afford to lose them, just so we can stay consistent with all of our stores.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to ask the same question, just a little bit different.
Okay, I didn't answer.
What's the most painful lesson that you've had to learn?
It was painful letting people go.
Yeah.
It was painful letting people go. You got all these families that depend on you, and when the business is not there, and you got to let people go, it sucks. It sucks. Being a boss, being a leader, you got to make tough decisions, and sometimes those tough decisions hurt.
That's really good.
Yeah.
So let's open it up. What questions do you guys have for Larry?
I gotta admit, this is the first time I've heard of. I'm from elsewhere. I was raised in Canada and then moved down to Utah, so this is the first time I've heard of it. But I think it's fascinating. I mentioned I only heard of collard greens from movies. I didn't know it was really a thing, and I'm still trying to figure out if grits are a thing.
They are. A very amazing thing.
I need to spend more time in the South. But you have how many stores?
Far as Lolo's Chicken and Waffles, we're at 7 locations, actually 6. And then I have 2 new concepts. One is called Monroe's Hot Chicken. It's a Nashville, Tennessee hot chicken theme. We have 2 locations of that. And then I have a location called Brunch and Sip. It's a breakfast brunch spot that we do brunch every day, all day. And we got a whole lot of more healthier items over there: gluten-free, keto, vegan, plant-based.
Cool. So the culture, I find it fascinating, and I really appreciated your comments this morning about culture. But I care so much about culture that I will not hire someone if I feel like they're going to be difficult on the culture. How do you get through that? How do you consider that and recognize that as you're hiring? And then how do you do it when they're in another location than you and you're already working 8 days a week?
Well, I can answer that, and that's a wonderful question. Okay, let's talk about culture. So in 2015, Lolo started offering franchise opportunities. And we got our first franchisee out of Omaha, Nebraska. And he came down and he saw Lolo's and he loved it. Well, he opened up a Lolo's, and we used to go down there and visit him. He was getting away from the culture, and he wasn't doing things the Lolo's way. Now, we got all these professionals. We put together these manuals, and we gave them order guides, cookbooks, what if moments if you run into this. We did all of this homework and spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to do the franchising the right way. And he would go off script. So we would fly in, we'll visit with him, and we'd be like, hey, why are you using this product, and this product? Well, it's saving me 30, 40% on food costs. I said, but it's also changing the flavor profile, okay? Fast forward, we get another franchisee in Las Vegas, and he's playing top 40 and sometime country western. And that's not Lolo.
No, that's too far.
Yeah.
That's too far for me.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck? I'm sorry, but I'm being myself. But anyway, you go off in there, and like people, like staffers calling me like, "Hey, I might be overstepping my boundaries, but you need to know they're playing country western here." And the emails started coming in, and like, what the hell, you know? So you jump on a plane, you go to Vegas, and freaking, you know, what's her name?
How did this conversation go? You got to tell us how this went.
I mean, well, we asked him like, what the hell are you doing? It's like, what the hell are you doing? And, you know, and believe it or not, but he made a comment like, I can't listen to that music all the time. He made a comment like that. And I'm like, well, you should have opened up Tom's Chicken and Waffles.
You could have used a different name.
But I did use Tom. At least I'm honest. And it wasn't, I wasn't even thinking about you. And even when I said
I feel like
you
were. I feel like you were thinking exactly of me.
I told him, I'm like, you should have opened up Tom's Chicken and Waffles. You came to Arizona, you fell in love with Lolo's, you wanted the Lolo's brand, you wanted the Lolo's culture, you got to stay on path. So with that being said, I thought Vegas was close enough where I can put it under my umbrella, which I did. Had to hire lawyers, and it took about 10 months to get him out the store. So we took that store.
You had to let him go.
We took the store back. Took the store back.
Which I'm sure contractually you had the ability to do in the original contract.
Yep, but at the same time, he invested a lot of money, so I had to assume all those responsibilities. And at the time when we took it off the store, it was crazy because me and my team, we go out to Vegas. Now we're trying to get them back on the right path to teach them the culture and how it's supposed to be. Now we're getting so much resistance because they've been, for the last 10, 12 months, they've been running around doing whatever they wanted to do. So I understand when companies come in and just wipe out everybody and start all over. So that was a great lesson that me and my wife learned. And we looked at each other like, that's why they do it. We literally had to fire everybody, rehire, get new people in. If you wanted to come back, you have to reapply. So we shut the store down for a couple of weeks, got them back in, retrained.
What are you doing here that's different, that's keeping these people on and keeping them happy, keeping them content?
I mean, Lolo's is a whole vibe, man. It's a great place to work at. Everybody's happy. I mean, I'm a happy dude. I'm very, very approachable. I go in, I talk to everybody, Jesus, Raul, Sonia, you know, I talk to them about their name. I use empathy, if she's listening, you know. But I'm a people's person, and I don't sell you on bullshit. So everybody likes that about me. So people are happy to come to work, and they're happy to know that they have the type of leadership that has their back, that, you know, make sure that it is a good, safe, clean work environment, that everybody's treating everybody well. And if anybody got an issue, you take it to the manager and we're gonna deal with it. And if I have to get involved, I'll get involved. There's been times where I've been here in Arizona, had a disgruntled employee in Las Vegas dealing with something. My manager is like, next thing you know, I'm walking through the door. It's 45 minutes away on the plane, you know? But I'm very hands-on, and whatever the problem is, everything can be resolved with a little communication.